Hey everybody, a Retro Geek Dad here, back with another toy review. This time we are checking out Wave 6 of the Masters of the Universe Origins. I picked these up from Entertainment Earth. I had ordered them all together, but they came in kind of individually. Not too bad. Retail on these were about $15.99, I believe. But real quick, part of this wave, I'll show you right here on the back. The new He-Man and Skeletor. So these are the new ones that they're redoing. And this He-Man has the vintage style head, and Skeletor has the vintage style head. I don't have those two. Those are the only ones that technically I don't have in this wave. But I do have the other characters. We have Lords of Power Beastman, the Eternian Goddess, or the Green Goddess, Stinkor, and Webstor. So I'm going to open these up, do a review on them. I've also got some older figures to compare it to, except for Webster. I don't have the original Webster, but I've got the original Stinkor. And I want to compare the Beastman to the regular Beastman from Origins and the Eternian Goddess from the Tila figure for the Origins. But I want to compare these, kind of look at them, check them out. But yeah, we're going to jump into it and see how it goes. Okay, so I'll set these to the side here. We're going to start with the Lords of Power Beastman. Take a quick look at the packaging. Of course, you have LOP, that's Lords of Power. Beastman, Retro Play. On the back, I'll raise the camera a little bit. So on the back, we have our artwork. We have the rest of the line here. It's twisted into powerful battle positions. The UPC code, legal stuff, and the mini comic. It's like rocking a hard place. So go ahead and open him up. Adjust the camera. Go ahead and open up Beastman. So this is the regular Lords of Power. Now they did I believe it was a 5-pack I talked about with the Merman, the previous Merman Lords of Power single figure. So these are different from those. They're not the same one, so if you've got that multi-pack, this isn't going to be the same figure. So we have our mini comic, Rocking a Hard Place. We'll just flip through there. A bunch of fakers, that's interesting. Stinkor, Webstor, Green Goddess. So that's pretty neat. And this is just the details about which parts are removable. So onto the figure. I'll raise the camera a little bit. There we go. Okay, so here is the Lords of Power Beastman. We got our rubber bands, of course. So we've got one on the elbow. The other one, that's the same one. Okay, so we just have that one rubber band on the arms, or the elbows. Okay, so take a quick look at the figure. There is the Lords of Power Beastman. He's got the belt here is removable. The little gauntlets are pretty neat. Face. And let's see what we have with accessories. I think it's just his top harness. I don't actually see, there's no weapons, it's just a harness. So it's just a flimsy plastic material. Goes over and comes around the back. some. There we go. Okay, so it's going to slide in. That one, and the back one. There we go. Okay, so there's the harness there. Tighten that one up. Okay, so there is him with his harness. My camera's casting a shadow. Let me raise it. There we go. That's better. There's him with his harness. Pretty cool. I really like that harness. It's really neat. Very primal looking. Of course, the Lords of Power figures, they were based on the concept, I guess the concept figures that they had done for the toy line way back, you know, before the toy line started. They just made concept figures, and they had originally called Masters of the Universe. It was going to be Lords of Power, so that's where all that comes from. I talked about it more in my other video with the Lords of Power Merman. It's actually pretty interesting if anybody wants to check that out and, you know, Google it. But real quick, I want to compare it to the other Beastman, regular Beastman that we had for Origins. So he's missing his arm thing. So, slide that on. So this is the regular Origins Beastman and the Lords of Power Beastman. So it's definitely a, you know, darker, a more reddish than orange. Check out the back. And of course, his fur underwear is not colored; it's the same colored, so that's kind of creepy looking. But there's a side-by-side comparison to the regular Beastman. There's that. And, you know, like always, the Origins figures, they can come apart, just like on the picture, the instructions it shows. So, so when you go to remove the armor, I'm not sure if it's showing up, but where it clicks at, I can see that getting, if you're not paying attention, that getting pulled and ripped maybe. So you gotta kind of maneuver it so it doesn't. There we go. Kind of push down on it a little bit so it goes through that connector piece. There we go. Yeah, like I said, you know, he comes apart, like his head comes off. There's his belt. Legs pop off. You know, the arms come off. So, really like these figures. I'm real happy with how this toy line's coming out. I know trying to find them in the store is close to impossible. I don't know if that went like that or like that. I can't remember. Go like that. Nope, that don't look right. Like I was saying, I know these are really hard to find in the store. I've kind of resorted to just buying them online. I usually use Entertainment Earth or Big Bad Toy Store. They're pretty good about, you know, having them available for sale. However, it does take a little bit for them to fill the order. That doesn't really bother me much because I know at least I've got it ordered. So, there is Lords of Power Beastman. I'm going to adjust the camera. Okay, so next we're going to look at Webstor. So, of course, Webstor is kind of like a spider. So he's kind of like a spider, arachnid. I did not have the original when I was a kid. I always wanted them, just because of the climbing mechanism. But let's take a look at the package. Evil Master of Escape. Make him climb up his line. Mini comic is still rocking a hard place. The artwork on the back. Now this is pretty cool because we have Buzz Off. Now I know Buzz Off was just recently announced in one of the new waves coming out, so we are getting Buzz Off. You know, we have Webster and, you know, He-Man. Webstor. I always said, I know his name's Webstor. I always pronounce it Webster. Child of the 80s. Anybody watching will know what that is. But on the back, attach the hook and line. Now this is just like the vintage figure. You would pull down, and as you pull down, the mechanism in his backpack would make him go up. So that's just like the original was. We have the line up, the UPC code. There's Webstor. And open him up. And we've got our mini comic rocking a hard place. Our little figure breakdown, which parts are removable. And we've got the one rubber band on the back. Snip that. And it's this little blaster. So I'll go ahead and open up the blaster. Okay, so there is the blaster, and it's just an orange blaster. I didn't have the vintage toy, so I'm pretty sure it came with something similar to this. This kind of looks like the same blaster that comes in the Castle Grayskull set with the weapons rack, just in a, you know, an orange color. But here is Webstor. Of course, his backpack. There's the string. And the grappling hook, so it's all attached in one piece. As you pull down, it goes up. It's a pretty decent long string. So go ahead and take this off and check out the figure. So his backpack does come off. Rubber band. So it does come off. You just gotta kind of push it down. There we go. Okay, so we'll look at the backpack in a second. So here is the figure Webstor. And of course, you know, he comes apart too. I'm not going to take them apart just because I want to look at this backpack. So, right off the bat, the front piece is kind of like the flimsy plastic, the flexible plastic, but the back is not. It's solid plastic. So, I see the tabs on here getting broke. Just like the vintage, you know, hard style armor, you know, got broke. So I see that getting broke. You know, taking the armor on and off. If you leave the armor on, it'll be fine. But I do see that being an issue. But you know, with the mechanism inside, it has to be, you know, the hard plastic. So we just have to be careful with that. It does have these little metal tabs, which I'm assuming is part of the mechanism on the inside. We'll put his armor back on and see if we can't get this to work. I'm not sure with my limited shooting area here if we'll be able to demonstrate it or not. I am noticing though on the back, I'm not sure if those are showing up, there's two little tabs here, so I'm wondering if that's just like a little storage for maybe the string or something, I don't know. Alright, let me adjust the camera. Let's see if we can get this figured out here. So, yeah, see, as I'm pulling it down, he's going up, I'm holding the other side. I hope that's showing up. So, as I pull down, he goes up. So that's pretty cool. That's just like the original one was. Right back down. Hopefully that showed up and it wasn't just a figure dangling in front of the camera. Here is his blaster. So, it's a really cool figure. I know that his skin's kind of showing up a little lighter blue. It's a little bit darker. Me holding it in my hand, I guess it's just the lighting. But I really like the colors on this figure. It's a really menacing looking figure, especially with that face. That's really cool. I really like it. It's definitely in my top 10. I really like the colors. But the only issue I see is the hard plastic tabs for the backpack. But as long as you leave the backpack on and leave the armor on, it should be fine. So that's not too bad. I like that. Alright, we'll set him to the side and let's look at the Eternian Goddess, or the Green Goddess. For those of you who have read the original mini comic for the first He-Man, the Green Goddess is the one that gave him his harness and this sword and everything. So the fact that we're actually getting, the Green Goddess, that's kind of a cool little, lore figure that we wouldn't have gotten in the original line. But we'll take a look at the back. Okay, so like this is like kind of straight from the mini comic. We have, Savage He-Man from the mini comic. Because in the original, he was from a tribe, and he was like the strongest of his tribe and everything. So, we have our He-Man, of our Green Goddess, and, here we have the battle axe. Now, there's a Viking helmet here. And I don't know if that's on purpose or if that's like a little Easter egg to Vikor, who was kind of like the prototype He-Man, I guess, back in the early days. But that's kind of neat. I'm assuming that's what that means, is a little Vikor. We have her splitting the power sword in two, Skeletor. That's pretty cool. So she's got her magic staff, twists and turns. The other figure line up. The UPC code for the Green Goddess. Same mini comic, Rockin' a Hard Place. So go ahead and open her up. So yep, same mini comic. And removable parts. And she's got the new knees, I believe, where they had resculpted the knees. Now this is just my opinion, but it would have been cool if they had made her glow in the dark. That would have been pretty neat. Maybe do like a paint wash or something. But I think this is basically just a Tila repaint. I'll compare it to the Tila from the earlier wave. Okay, so we have our weapons. Looks like a Messed up looking lollipop. Try to be careful. Scissors here are dull. So there is the snake staff. So I'll have to look at the original Tila. I don't know if the Tila one had the little curve in it or not. I'll have to look and see. Here is the shield. And here is the green goddess. And she is green. A little bit of silver on the highlights. Take off this armor real quick and get a better look. So yeah. I mean, it's just basically a Tila recolor. But she does have the new knees where the joints are covered. Okay, so that's not wanting to bend. I'm not sure if you can see that. But that knee joint is not wanting to bend. Let's see, now the other one bends. Let's see, maybe it's, okay, it was backwards. Okay, so it was backwards in the packaging. Okay, so yeah, there's the new knees where it covers that joint. So yeah, it's basically just a Tila recolor with the new knees. So let me get her. Her armor off real quick. Yeah, so there is side by side with Tila. The face looks a little thicker. Maybe it's the neck. I don't know, what do you think? Yeah, the face looks a little thicker. Of course, Tila's got that little smudge on her mouth. But, basically the same figure, just a recolor, the different knees. Oh, there seems to be a little bit of difference. I don't want to point out the obvious, but if you can see it, you can see it. One's a little thinner, one's a little thicker, and I'll leave it at that. But yeah, the staff actually does have the little twist in it, so both staffs and weapons, they're all the same. Yeah, so all their weapons and accessories are the same. But yeah, I think it's a pretty neat figure, especially those of us who know the lore behind, you know, the original mini comic. With the green goddess and the power armor. Now it would have been kind of neat if maybe she had came with like maybe some of the accessories, you know, the power harness or something. I don't know. It would have been pretty cool to have a little something extra than just, you know, reused weapons. But I mean, it's a pretty cool figure to have. I like it. It would have been cool if, you know, the green skin kind of glowed in the dark. That would have been neat. But, yeah, it's a nice little figure. So. Alright, the last figure we have is Stinkor. Now, I don't know, some of you watching might know, some of you might not. Stinkor is a skunk, and this figure does have a scent. I have the original Stinkor right here. He doesn't have his armor anymore or anything. And I hope I'm saying this right, but this figure was made using patchouli oil. I think that's the right way to say it. But there is a distinctive smell to this oil, and when they were making the figure, they had used it in the mold. So this figure is almost 40 years old. It's been in an attic, it's been in a basement, it's been in a storage unit. It's been places. You can still smell a faint aroma of that patchouli oil. And anybody who had this figure will instinctively know what that smell is. So I kind of saved him for last because he does have that smell. And I did kind of want to do a comparison on the scent and see if it's the same scent or not, because mine still has a vague smell. And I kind of wanted to check those out, see if it still had the same smell or not, because I'm real interested to find out. Okay, so I'll move all this. I'll set him to the side and we'll go ahead and open this. Now you can almost kind of smell it through the packaging, which is pretty cool. Oh yeah, I can definitely smell it. I mean, it's not a bad smell, it's just a very strong smell. Oh yeah. You can smell it in the blister card. And he comes with his shield. Okay. So I want to go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and do a smell test. Let's go ahead and do that, get that out of the way. So okay, so this Stinkor, the smell is very small. It's not very powerful. It is not the same as the original figure. I'm trying to think of what it smells like. I don't know. Maybe like a stale bag of Cool Ranch Doritos. I mean, I'm picking more of a plastic smell up. Oh yeah, it's definitely not the same smell as the vintage. So I'm a little disappointed. But I remember there being a story about when they made the vintage Stinkor. You know, the factory smelled forever. You know, and they could smell it, you know, down the road and stuff from the factory. So I understand why they didn't do it the same way, but it really doesn't have that much of a scent. I mean, I smell mostly plastic. Let's try Beastman. Yeah, it's almost a plastic smell. It's very, very, very faint. I don't know if that's how it is on all the Stinkors, or maybe it's just mine, but it's a very, very minute smell. We'll go ahead and open up his shield. So I'm a little disappointed in that, just because as an adult that smell is so iconic. Like, you smell it, like I'll smell it at the store, or you know, you'll smell it somewhere and instantly Stinkor. You know that smells Stinkor. So the new generation getting this figure, they're not going to have that same nostalgic feeling when they smell that smell, because he doesn't have that smell. So that's a little disappointing. But go ahead and take a look at the figure. I mean, it's a nice figure. Still kept, you know, the orange is a little brighter, but it's got the skunk, you know, the skunk painting, or you know, paint apps. The armor is flexible. It unbuckles at the bottom. Of course, you have to take the head off. We're side by side with the vintage. Of course, my vintage leg is a little goofy. We're side by side. I wish the paint app on the head for this one was a little more prominent, kind of like the vintage one was. A little wider brush strokes, if you will. Oh, the stripe doesn't go all the way down his back. That's interesting. I mean, he's a skunk. Come on, you gotta have the stripe going all the way down. We've all seen Looney Tunes. So I'm a little disappointed in this figure. One, the smell. I mean, you know that smell. Anybody who has the original knows that. The stripe on the back doesn't go all the way down. Come on. I mean, it's a cool looking figure. And the armor is, you know, it's that flexible plastic armor. Slide that back on. So, yeah, I'm slightly disappointed with this. Just because of, you know, the smell, paint out. I mean, if you've got his harness on, you can't see it, but still. And he's got his little shield. So, shield goes in his hand, and of course it was a little difficult to get his hand actually in there. Not sure if that's showing through, because if you have it just like that, I guess you could do that. But, yeah, there you go. Now I know that they had done a, I think it was a Funko Pop of Stinkor, and the Funko Pop had the patchouli smell on it, so there was that. But yeah, probably my least favorite figure out of this line. I'm really kind of disappointed in that. I was really hoping for that nostalgic smell, but yeah. Well, I guess you win some, you lose some. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you again next time.